Today, we will talk about top 10 most important scientific discoveries in history. As the 2010s come to an end, we can look back on an era rife with discovery. In the past 10 years, scientists around the world made remarkable progress toward understanding the human body, our planet, and the cosmos that surrounds us. What's more, science in the 2010s became more global and collaborative than ever before. These days, major breakthroughs are likelier to come from groups of 3,000 scientists than groups of 3. So much has happened, thanks to so many, that National Geographic's writers and editors decided not to whittle down the last decade into just a handful of discoveries. Instead, we put our heads together to identify 20 trends and milestones that we found especially noteworthy, and that we think will set the stage for more amazing finds in the decade to come. Make sure to hit that like button, also subscribe to my channel. 1. Shaking up the human family tree. The decade has seen numerous advances in understanding our complex origin story, including new dates on known fossils, spectacularly complete fossil skulls, and the addition of multiple new branches. In 2010, National Geographic explorer at-large Lieberger unveiled a distant ancestor named Australopithecus cetera. 5 years later, he announced that South Africa's cradle of humankind cave system contained fossils of a new species, Homo naledi, a hominin whose mosaic anatomy resembles that of both modern humans and far more ancient cousins. A follow-up study also showed that H. naledi is surprisingly young, living at least between 236,000 and 335,000 years ago. 2. Revolutionizing the study of ancient DNA. As DNA sequencing technologies have improved exponentially, the past decade has seen huge leaps in understanding how our genetic past shapes modern humans. In 2010, researchers published the first near-complete genome from an ancient Homo sapiens, kicking off a revolutionary decade in the study of our ancestors' DNA. Since then, more than 3,000 ancient genomes have been sequenced, including the DNA of Naya, a girl who died in what is now Mexico 13,000 years ago. Her remains are among the oldest intact human skeletons ever found in the Americas. Also in 2010, researchers announced the first draft of a Neanderthal genome, providing the first solid genetic evidence that 1 to 4% of all modern non-Africans' DNA comes from these close relatives. 3. Revealing thousands of new exoplanets. Human knowledge of planets orbiting distant stars took a giant leap forward in the 2010s, in no small part thanks to NASA's Kepler Space Telescope. From 2009 to 2018, Kepler alone found more than 2,700 confirmed exoplanets, more than half the current total. Among Kepler's greatest hits, the first confirmed rocky exoplanet. Its successor TSS, launched in 2018, is starting its survey of the night sky and has already bagged 34 confirmed exoplanets. Ground-based surveys were also in on the action. In 2017, researchers announced the discovery of TRAPPIST-1, a star system just 39 light-years away that hosts a whopping 7 Earth-sized planets, the most found around any star other than the Sun. 4. Entering the CRISPR era. The 2010s marked huge advances in our ability to precisely edit DNA, in large part thanks to the identification of the CRISPR-Cas9 system. Some bacteria naturally use CRISPR-Cas9 as an immune system, since it lets them store snippets of viral DNA, recognize any future matching virus, and then cut the virus's DNA to ribbons. In 2012, researchers proposed that CRISPR-Cas9 could be used as a powerful genetic editing tool, since it precisely cuts DNA in ways that scientists can easily customize. Within months, other teams confirmed that the technique worked on human DNA. Ever since, labs all over the world have raced to identify similar systems, to modify CRISPR-Cas9 to make it even more precise, and to experiment with its applications in agriculture and medicine. 5. Seeing the cosmos as never before. The 2010s brought with them several major observations that are revolutionizing our study of the universe. In 2013, the European Space Agency launched Gaia, a spacecraft that is collecting distance measurements for more than 1 billion stars of the Milky Way, as well as velocity data for more than 150 million stars. The dataset helped scientists make a 3D movie of our home galaxy, yielding an unprecedented look at how galaxies form and change over time. In 2018, scientists released the final version of the Planck satellite's measurements of the early universe's faint afterglow, which contains vital clues to cosmic ingredients, structure, and rate of expansion. 6. Unveiling ancient art. Discoveries from around the world have reinforced that art, or at least doodling, was an older and more global phenomenon than once thought. In 2014, researchers showed that hand stencils and a pig deer painting in Sulawesi's Meros cave sites were at least 39,000 years old, making them as old as Europe's most ancient cave paintings. Then, in 2018, researchers announced the discovery of cave art in Borneo that's between 40,000 and 52,000 years old, further pushing back the origins of figurative painting. And another 2018 find in South Africa, a stone flake that was cross-hatched some 73,000 years ago, may well be the world's oldest doodle. 7. Making interstellar firsts. Future historians might look back on the 2010s as the interstellar decade. For the first time, our spacecraft punctured the veil between the Sun and interstellar space, and we got our first visits from objects that formed around distant stars. In August 2012, NASA's Voyager 1 probe crossed the outer boundary of the heliosphere, the bubble of charged particles our Sun gives off. Voyager 2 joined its twin in the interstellar medium in November 2018 and captured groundbreaking data along the way. 8. Breaking new ground in the solar system. In July 2015, NASA's New Horizons probe made good on a decades-long quest to visit the icy world Pluto, sending back the first-ever images of the dwarf planet's shockingly varied surface. And on New Year's Day 2019, New Horizons pulled off the most distant flyby ever attempted when it snapped the first pictures of the icy body Ericot, a primordial leftover from the solar system's infancy. A little closer to home, NASA's Dawn spacecraft arrived at Vesta, the second biggest body in the asteroid belt, in 2011. After mapping that world, Dawn darted off to orbit the dwarf planet Ceres, the asteroid belt's largest object, becoming the first mission ever to orbit a dwarf planet, and the first to orbit 2 different extraterrestrial bodies. Near the decade's end, NASA's OSIRIS-REx and JXA's Hayabusa 2 visited the asteroids Bennu and Ryugu, respectively, with the goal of returning samples back to Earth. 9. Changing the course of disease. In response to the 2014 to 2016 Ebola outbreak in West Africa, public health officials and the pharmaceutical company Merck fast-tracked RVSV-ZBOV, an experimental Ebola vaccine. After a highly successful field trial in 2015, European officials approved the vaccine in 2019, a milestone in the fight against the deadly disease. Several landmark studies also opened new avenues to preventing the spread of HIV. A 2011 trial showed that preventatively taking antiretroviral drugs greatly reduced the spread of HIV among heterosexual couples, a finding confirmed in follow-up studies that included same-sex couples. 10. Pushing reproductive limits. In 2016, clinicians announced the birth of a 3-parent baby grown from the father's sperm, the mother's cell nucleus, and a third donor's egg that had its nucleus removed. The therapy, which remains ethically controversial, aims to correct for disorders in the mother's mitochondria. One 2018 study made precursors of human sperm or eggs out of reprogrammed skin and blood cells, while another showed that gene editing could let 2 same-sex mice conceive pups. And in 2018, Chinese scientists announced the birth of 2 cloned macaques, the first time that a primate had ever been cloned like Dolly the sheep. Though researchers avow that the technique won't be used on humans, it's possible that it could work with other primates, including us. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.